Have you ever thought that some of our greatest love stories in our lives are not with people, but with our animal friends? This is Death by Disney, where I try to watch and review every Disney movie on my way to becoming the most prolific reviewer of all time. This is Tonka, a film from 1958. Tonka is about the great love a boy has for his horse. Sal Mineo stars as White Bull, who notices the horse while the tribe is on the hunt for wild mustangs. The things that draw him to the horse are that it's wild and clumsy and still growing, like he is. In his enthusiasm to catch the horse, he steals a rope belonging to his cousin, who, despite being a great warrior, is a bit of a jerk. They have a confrontation in front of the whole tribe, and White Bull is determined to catch the horse. As luck would have it, the horse is caught up in the rope that caused all of the controversy. White Bull is able to tame the horse and earn its trust. The horse actor does a great job conveying all of its emotions, and I think sadly that this means it was abused on set. This film was made at the time that studios did not really care about animal welfare. White Wilderness, a documentary released in the same year by Disney, proves that it was among one of the worst violators. There's no proof that in this case, for this film, there was any animal abuse, so we can feign ignorance. White Bull takes the horse he has named Tonka Wakan, the Great One, back to the tribe, and he impresses everyone with a display of horse riding. Really, the movie is a delight for anyone who knows anything about the sport of horse riding, because the stunt riders are able to display their skills and those of their horses fully. White Bull's cousin, the jerk from before, decides that he as the great warrior should have the horse, and neither White Bull nor his friends can do anything about it. His idea of training is to beat the horse without mercy. Tonka lies at night awake and is tormented by the screams of the horse and regrets ever having captured it. He sneaks out in the middle of the night and lets Tonka go. We leave White Bull for a while and follow Tonka's journey. He's trapped by a group of white hunters who are rounding up and selling wild horses. Here is another great display of concerning horse acting where there's a legitimate horse fight. How they got the horses to fight, I have no idea. The horse is sold to the army where it undergoes another brutal attempt at taming it, this time at the hands of white men. Captain Miles Keogh, played by Philip Carey, rescues Tonka and gives him the name Comanche due to his bravery. But outside the world of horses, trouble is brewing. White Bull belongs to the Sioux tribe, and the tribe is going to war against the whites. This is not explained very well in the movie, but I'll talk about the real-world background of the movie in a bit. White Bull gets sent by his elders to count the number of soldiers in the fort, and he is discovered by Captain Keogh, where they bond over their mutual love for the horse. We are introduced to General Custer in this part of the movie, and the movie is not a fan. He is treated as a vain man, one concerned with his own glory, and a vicious racist. Which, if someone treats you as a racist in 1958, it's got to be pretty bad, right? He wants White Bull to be tortured, but they convince him that he wouldn't tell them anything even if he was tortured, and they let him go. Custer, like in real life, walks into the trap, and he and his men are massacred. The fighting is over in about 5 minutes, and when it's all said and done, Tonka, Comanche the horse, is the only survivor. White Bull, who had taken part in the battle, comes to find him the next day and sees some white soldiers who are about to kill him to put him out of his misery. White Bull says that the whites shouldn't kill the horse because it isn't their enemy, he is, and as one of the soldiers is about to shoot him, in a Disney movie mind you, the other intervenes and saves White Bull's life and that of the horse. Then, bizarrely, White Bull gets a job with his enemies, looking after his horse for the rest of its days. I say bizarrely because White Bull is shown to have nothing but disdain for the whites, so I think his love for his horse wouldn't overcome that in real life. Speaking of in real life, this battle took place over 2 days, and even though the Sioux, Lakota, won, they didn't have enough resources to keep such a large band of men together, and it quickly disbanded. The American government wanted the Black Hills from the Lakota and offered them a deal or they could starve because they were dependent on food shipments from the American government due to the collapse of the buffalo hunt. The Lakota signed under duress, and they claim to this day that this deal was illegitimate. The politics around the battle were also a lot more complicated than the movie makes it out to be. The Lakota had been expanding into areas that had been given to other tribes since 1851, like the Crow, on whose land the battle was fought. They had been expanding not due to any desire for conquest, but because the Americans were gradually pushing them out of areas around Fort Laramie and the Black Hills. Custer did underestimate the Lakota forces, but he also potentially made other blunders, like getting distracted by attacking the women and children. This was a brutal but effective tactic to try and get warriors to flee from the fighting to protect their families, and not taking with him Gatling guns, which were the precursor, hard word to say, precursor to machine guns. There was also a horse named Comanche who was considered to be the only survivor of the battle and treated with respect for the rest of his life. Although his backstory with White Bull is completely invented and is based on a book called Comanche, The Story of America's Most Heroic Horse by David Appel. What did I think about the movie? I think despite the mild racism of the film and the potential question of animal abuse, it is an entertaining story. It suggests to us that there are more important things than conflict and war, that the most important is how you treat others, both your fellow man and your fellow creature. I give it a 6 out of 10 because of the potential animal abuse. All right, that's my review of Tonka from 1958. I'm trying to become the most prolific reviewer of all time. If you want to help me on this weird side quest I've gotten myself into, you can subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 40 subscribers by the end of July, currently at the halfway point with 20, so I believe that we can do it. Another way is to like the video if you liked what I have to say about Tonka. You can put your suggestions for movies I could review in the comments section. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for your time. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.